Which one's the?
One says sample on it for.
That's just for you as a guide of today's agenda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and if you have to make motions, it has the
That
word
has the words on it.
for you to use, so you
Oh,
don't have
it's a
to
cheat
say.
sheet.
It's a cheat sheet. I did them before, it just,
Yeah.
you know,
It's helpful, thank you.
couldn't always get them done, but that has been a goal. Madam Clerk.
I guess ready. Call meeting to order.
Please rise for a pledge and prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the prayer. O Lord God, we come before thee in prayer, acknowledging the blessing of government and administration. Thou art a God of order and hast blessed us with the establishment of governing officials to provide civil harmony and concord. Be with us in this meeting and give us strength and wisdom to pursue goals which please thee. Grant us the courage to support those things which are right and according to thy ordinances. For we ask it in God's name. Amen. And this would be the time, if anybody has a prayer, please recite it now. Thank you.
Roll call.
Darga,
Yes.
Saley,
Here.
Papa,
Here,
Palini,
Here.
item here.
approval of the agenda, any
Yeah.
additions or deletions?
I've seen a couple corrections.
That's,
On the
we've got the
agenda?
minutes though.
Yeah.
Oh, we got the
Oh, yeah,
agenda.
the agenda, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Okay.
We got an addition?
Well, no, just that
I
we
didn't
will
hear you
still
say
have
that.
the closed sessions to discuss negotiations.
Oh.
But they, we won't be ratifying the contract. So,
Couple of niches.
Hearing that, can we get a?
I make a motion to accept this presented with that.
Support.
Nope.
one deletion.
Motion and support of the agenda with the deletion of
Number 12.
number 12.
Sure, that's all you want to delete anymore?
Discussion,
Here's a couple more.
if not, all in favor,
Aye.
opposed, motion carried. Conflict disclosure, anyone have a conflict with anything on the agenda today?
I don't have a conflict, but I just want to, when we get down to 12, contract ratification. My daughter works for the Department of Corrections for Presque County, so just letting everyone know.
But we're not
When
gonna,
it's time.
when it's time, yeah, but we're not gonna be doing that today anyway, right?
Maybe
Just
next.
letting you know.
Yeah.
Just put it out.
Yep, that's right. It's,
Okay,
appreciate
noted.
that, Wayne.
Thank you. Minutes of the meeting of June 13th, 2020.
Yes, a couple of corrections there. On the van purchase, it says, what was informed that the service officer was able to apply for a grant and receive the grant? That's what I was told,
He applied, we don't,
Why, I don't even think he didn't receive it.
so he does,
What he was told is he would be eligible.
right,
but he didn't receive it.
not yet. No, there's no confirmation that it was.
And then also. And agree to reimburse recycling. I didn't make second the motion on that.
Oh.
I'm a no vote.
Go back to
Which
my
one?
notes.
Oh,
Agree to
okay,
reimburse.
yeah, right, you voted again. Not likely.
I don't know who made the
I
motion.
might have been, might
I'll go back. and
go
find
back,
it.
yeah, might have
I have
been,
my
Mr. Staley.
I think John seconded it.
Actually, I did, you're right.
Okay.
Okay.
That's some good.
Good
information, guys.
With that, I moved to accept the minutes as corrected.
I support.
Motion support to approve the corrected minutes of June 13th, 2024. Any more discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion carries. Minutes of the workshop of June 13th, 2024.
Move to accept it presented.
Support.
Or
We have a motion support to approve the minutes of the workshop of June 13th, 2024. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Treasurer's report. Val,
Good morning. This is the treasury report for May 2024. There were no taxes collected for the month of May, so we are still standing at $4,688,665.86. Total revenue for May was $228,880.42 for a year to date of $6,985,447.56. Total expenditures for May were $306,882.35. Year to date, $6,146,024.99. The change in fund equity, $785,194.01. And the general bank checking stands at $1,969,913.39. Revenues and expenses were normal for month, and just as far as an update in the treasurer's office, since the fiscal year ends on June 30th, we're going to be working on accruing the revenue items during the months of July and August to reflect the due from the state, preparing and recording journal entries, and for any adjustments that need to be made and for the bond issue. And closing out the 2020 tax fund into the reserve and preparing for the audit. The auditors did let us know that they're going to be on site September 18th and 19th. So we pretty much,
have stuff done.
we spend the summer, preparing things for that. The current tax collections begin again on Monday for the townships and the cities will begin receiving in their taxes. Yeah, so they'll be settling with us every 2 weeks. So you will be looking at seeing the county allocated coming in regularly. Every 2 weeks, we'll begin spreading that after July 15th. The county land auction is going to be on Tuesday, August 13th. It's going to be run again by Title Check LLC, and the auction will be virtual. We have 48 properties that will be available for sale. They will have the information up on the site at least 30 days before, possibly 6 weeks before. So people are, interested, always asking for that, but no, it won't be published in the paper,
So you have to go to their website.
Yes,
What's the website again?
title check. It's if you look up Title Check LLC, you'll find it. It's tax-sale.info.
I'm not sure if this is a clerk or treasurer question, but I just received communications from Michigan Association of Counties that the legislation was passed to provide an additional 30 million to counties across the state. Has that been factored into next year's income?
30 million for what category, like revenue share, CIP?
Revenue sharing.
Yeah, I did see something that revenue sharing is gonna increase,
Right.
but we haven't gotten anything official.
Right,
as
yeah.
to
That was
what
just
the
a
breakdown-
projection.
And we don't put it in until we get a chart breakdown of this is how much you're getting.
Well, they haven't even finalized the budget out.
They did that.
Just, yeah.
Oh, did
so-
they?
Oh,
Okay, all right.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna say, I heard it on the.
Yeah.
$82.5 billion.
Okay, so you wait till you see what our cut of that is. Well, that's kind of good news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that just a projection?
I think they acted on 30 million. I don't know how they split it out.
Well,
Until we
right over
see,
83 counties.
I mean, that was in addition to the,
Regular,
right,
previous.
we got a
That's
head
just-
nodding from a Lansing person. Yeah,
Just for the counties,
for county
I think-
revenue sharing. This was from Michigan Association of Counties. So they're usually fairly on top of things.
Yeah,
yeah, they didn't, yeah, I did see it like a.
There are
little bit,
82
but-
counties. We don't get it all.
right.
83.
Or is it 83? Yeah.
83.
Oh, yeah.
83, yeah.
What's that on the little map?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, well, let us know when we find out how much more is coming our way.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, we could use
Thank
$1
you.
billion.
So in your statement here, it says, to reflect due from state items, so even some state money will be coming in after
Because,
June.
because things get billed to the state and they come in
Uh.
after the fiscal year ends, things get
But
accrued
they
back,
still,
right, then they get applied to the budget
okay,
from this fiscal year.
all right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
Motion.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Support. I'll make the motion
Treasurer's report.
and I'll support it.
Okay. Any more discussion? Not against the meeting. No.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Val. Citizens appearing before the board.
No.
Any? I guess we're on to the land bank presentation, Linda Warren. There's a podium if you'd like to.
Yeah, but just in case I have to write something down. There might be questions that I can't answer right now. Good morning, thank you for.
Good
having
morning,
me.
thanks for coming.
As you know, the State Land Bank has 2 rounds of grants operating in your county right now for stabilization and demolition. Valerie has come into her position newly, so I've been working really close with her. We do weekly calls to help manage those grants with her, make sure that compliance is at hopefully 100%, so that there's no issues that would come back either on not being able to somehow creating an ineligible expense, or when the federal government on the federal side comes back and does our audits, that they don't find any errors. So we've worked really hard, and I thank Valerie for one being very open to everything we're calling her, being willing to do the research and get things together. My goal today is to answer any questions that you have. I'll tell you just briefly about land banks. And then at 11 o'clock, I will be meeting with many of the private property owners of those structures that are involved in the funding. Land banks were founded over 20 years ago. I left you a couple of commemorative items, celebrating this year as our 20th year of land banks being in existence. The goals of land banks in the state of Michigan is to return property that's gone through tax foreclosure and returning it back to the tax rolls. We at the state believe that it should go back on the tax rolls at its highest and best use. That means, especially in the more urban areas, if you have a lot of side lots now that were old dilapidated structures that have been demolished, creating these gaps down a block, that we don't just turn them over to side lots, but we actually encourage redevelopment of that community. And part of the reason for that is infrastructure. If we take a block that had 10 houses, 5 on each side, and we eliminate half of those and sell those other now vacant lots to its neighboring entity, now who's going to pay that tax bill when it comes time for road work, infrastructure, water, sewer, that kind of stuff? Instead of having 10 households, you've got 5 households. You also have almost a 50% reduction in tax capture because the side lot has very little value compared to a home. So that's what I mean by highest and best use. Sometimes side lot is the best use. It's a narrow lot. We have what we call orphans. We see that with land banks where during the planning process, a 2-foot section didn't get platted into one property or the other. It has its own parcel number. Nobody paid taxes on it. It ends up as a proposed property. So we are very diligent on that from our end, and we encourage that for all land banks to do that as it fits in their communities. In my opinion, and I've been interested in land banking since 2000. Well, since its inception 20 years ago, but really about 2005, I became really interested in the process. I worked for a county in a housing program that worked with low-income families to do modifications to their home. So in my mind, this is a great venue for getting these properties that nobody wants. It didn't sell at tax sale. A lot of times they have dilapidated buildings, but getting them back on the tax roll. It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but it is a process that has to start somewhere. and land banks are that position to start. Valerie has told me that perhaps you had some questions about land banks, and I am really happy to answer any of them for you.
What is the process?
Process for what?
What you're proposing?
For selling property? It depends on the community. I mean, we don't direct a local land bank on how to run their land bank. That's really the beauty of it, is it's set for your community. Your community drives it. We don't drive it other than helping it become a land bank and offering all the resources that we can.
Maybe it would be helpful to review the eligible projects, the type of projects that are eligible for land bank grants, because I don't think everybody on the board knows that.
What qualifies?
Okay, the land bank grants that we offered are no longer available because we've spent those dollars. But the properties had to be blighted, which had a definition set aside as either in the ownership of a land bank, having a utility shut off for more than a year, or being in the ownership of a county, municipality, township, whatever, after tax foreclosure. So those were three categories that qualified a property as blighted. We funded demolition, we funded stabilization, and we funded environmental remediation match money in rounds 1 and 2. In round 3, we added, or 3 and 4, we added rehab.
Now, stabilization included foundation work and roof work
Yes,
and possibly structure, depending.
yes.
And this is available to the private and the public sector?
In this case, we allowed land banks to work with private owners and to facilitate that and avoid undue enrichment. Each private owner does have a lien on their property. And so that lien sits there for 7 years. If they were to sell the property or transfer the property, that's when that lien comes into play. After 7 years, then it goes away. Our thinking is this provides an opportunity for the community to benefit, the neighbors, the community. Many of these properties are in corridors and we're high priority. And it gives the community the benefit, those 7 years that private owner doesn't benefit from neglecting their property, having the state fund demolition and then sell it for a premium because now they have a clean vacant lot. So we were very cognizant of not having those public dollars go directly into a private pocket, so to speak.
What's the limit that you have for, let's say someone has a building and it needs a new roof?
Mhm.
What would be the limit that you would go as far as money? I
It
mean,
depends on the structure. I mean, we've got some large structures. We're re-roofing an entire school in one community under that grant program. And so obviously that's a lot more than a small downtown commercial building, maybe.
and when you work with the private sector, let's use the same, you put a roof on some big building down here on Main Street.
Mhm.
They can't sell the property?
They can,
They can?
but they have to pay the lien back.
Which means the whole amount that they
Yes.
got from the.
That also
Yeah.
true for private people.
That's only
That-
for
for
private
private,
owned
yeah.
property.
What
If it was
about this?
publicly owned, there's no lien on it because it's benefiting the public as a whole.
Sure, they could do whatever they want.
Well, if they're eligible and it's an approved grant, yes,
That's
So
helpful.
the city could sell the property then?
yes.
And you said the new program will allow rehabs. Can you,
Rounds 3 and 4 did allow rehabilitation of a blighted structure. See, all these grants have closed. We have those allocated. At the state, the second or the third and the fourth round were funded with ARPA dollars, which you're probably familiar with. And they had to be obligated by the end of this year. And right now, our department is telling me we went from almost dead last and getting obligations last quarter to being at the forefront of our percentage being allocated or obligated to grantees. So
additional funds for additional round depend on legislative action?
yes, we are currently working with our directors, working with state legislators. There's some excess funds in a couple of projects that were funded 2-3 years ago. And he's asking them to not recall those dollars, but instead reallocate those dollars into the land bank so that we can do continue similar funding opportunities.
What
But
line item?
absent
does it-
that, there won't be any more.
No, there was none in this budget.
Oh, really?
And the boy, well, we are funded for 2,000, but that's our operating dollars. That almost meets my payroll.
Yeah.
Huh.
We're primarily we create a lot of our own self-funding through a tax capture called the 550 or specific tax capture. When a land bank sells a property, for the first 5 years they 50% of the taxes paid on that property go back to the state or to the selling land bank, not the state if we didn't sell it. And that it was created within the original legislation to create a vehicle for funding land banks. It's not terribly effective if all you're doing is demolishing a structure and selling as a side lot and they pay $75 a year for the side lot. That doesn't go very far in your operations. But if you have several properties that are redone into, new homes, new structures, then, you start looking at the size of the development and those dollars start to really create some momentum with staffing and opportunities for what you can do with this fund.
So the line item that funds the land bank is basically just cover the administration. There's no
Pretty
extra
much.
funding.
There's no extra funds currently.
Mhm.
No. We're hopeful that they will repurpose those excess dollars and give us about another 10 million.
I know from time to time, it's hard to get contractors. Hopefully that's improving, and of course, we would prefer some of this work to be done locally. But
Mhm.
I had understood that there was a team that could be accessed through the state land bank of contractors that in a pinch could take on a project that couldn't find a local contractor.
I'm not aware of any such program.
Okay,
You might be referring to the state's My Deal. There was some conversations about utilizing the contractors that
the state's what?
My Deal, MIDEAL. It's a program that the state offers all the counties, townships, and municipalities to become members. It's like Sam's Club. And then you can utilize the lowest and best deal offered by those vendors. I don't know what the cost is, but you can access certain type Ford vehicles. I mean, a lot of people use it to purchase. There's John Deere is on that list. There's environmental professionals. There's all sorts of categories. There's accountants and auditors. Categories just go on.
My deal.
My Deal.
MIDEAL.
MIDEAL.
That's
It's based on population, if I'm not mistaken. I've seen it before.
Yeah, I don't know what that fee is. I know that my township where I live is very small and they talked about it and the fee the fee negated the savings.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Mhm.
And I had looked into it on the county's behalf
Yeah.
years ago, now not recently,
Yeah.
but several years ago.
But we
Same
have
thing.
said, use it to get people's information and send it to them publicly. I mean, to find contractors to do the work. The thing about having your local land bank is you can keep it local. We very rarely come in and tell you as a state land bank, you have to do this. I tell people you have to file your annual report with us because you're contractually obligated in your intergovernmental agreement to exist. That's the only thing I think I've ever told a land bank they had to do. You have to file your annual report, please. Thank you. So. And we made it simple. We do it online. It took maybe 15 minutes to kind of pull the information together, maybe another 10 to enter it into the online system. Yeah. So, again, we try to make everything as efficient as we can.
Good, less red tape from Lansing.
We try. We're really cognizant of that. We're also very cognizant of our smaller communities. We work with people who just have never done a demolition before. Valerie has never managed somebody demolishing a property before. She's learning. And we have a great team in our office. We all have our strengths. I've demolished over 600 properties in the southeast side of the state, as well as done over 100 rehabs in Lansing and Shiawassee County. So We've got other specialists that are good at development. We have another specialist who's really good at everything legal. We have our staff attorney. So I mean, we just have a lot of expertise on our team. And there's only 9 of us. We do offer training if you wanted to find out even more about land banks. We do have a training session. We talk also about we're starting a training on solar and how land banks can entertain solar development companies, if that's something that is of interest. Development, how to work with developers and take those vacant land bank properties and now put homes, because as we all know, Michigan is in a affordable housing crisis. I think we've had that all drilled in our heads, and it's very true. I have adult children that one is still living with me because finding a place to live is neither available nor affordable. So.
Well, there's no more questions. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Good presentation. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
thanks.
your time.
Number 2 is the disclosure and the treasurer.
Yes, and I said I hadn't thought about this when they all got appointed. So we do need to do a disclosure.
Oh.
Just because she does work at the county funds. So she did advise me that she is a member of the Alpena Area Credit Union and Awaken Federal Credit Union of Rather City, which we do business with. So it is a resolution.
Somebody make a
I'll
motion.
make a motion to accept our treasurer's disclosure resolution.
Support.
Adopt it.
Give a motion
Yep.
support to
Adopt
adopt
this
the treasurer's disclosure.
Yep.
Resolution. Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Nope.
No, gotta do a roll call.
Oh,
Bailey,
Yes.
Strappa,
yeah,
Bellini,
Yes,
Heineman,
Yes.
Darga.
Yes.
motion carried. Number 3 is an invoice for Choppa Construction.
Yes, as I stated in the note, when you approved it last meeting during claims, there was, the architect had put in the wrong amount of previously paid in that portion, so it reduced what was owed. Excuse me, so I do have the corrected amount. We did have a phone call conversation with the contractor, with Danielle, myself, and Lisa to make sure everybody was on the same page and had the right amounts this time. So
Is that funded by the
That's by that grant.
it is funded by the youth holding site grant that was received. It's coming out of this year's 300,000, which we have plenty of money.
so
for.
it's 28,759.
No.
No,
amount.
that's what the-
I'll make a
that's-
motion that we pay Choppa Construction 75,172.94. That comes out of that 3,000 300,000 grant for the juvenile holding cell.
So it reduced the amount of claims that was paid by the amount that was approved, because we did not pay that out. Once we found out, as soon as we found out,
It was wrong.
it was right. Pretty much after I got upstairs after the meeting, I found out,
Yeah.
of course.
So this should be the end of it.
My understanding, this is the big end of the big stuff that was part of
There
the
should be some minor
original
stuff.
contract.
Yeah,
So it's all done and finished.
yeah, it just gotta be cleaned up and then
Yeah.
shower's gotta be,
Well, I had understood that Department of Corrections had to inspect it.
and it's all done.
They did.
Passes inspection.
You did?
Yes,
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
There's a shower issue and cameras, I believe.
cameras and then final cleanup.
And those were all, yeah, the shower is one thing, the cameras were all part outside of the contractors.
I think our concern before was whether or not we would get that 300,000 to cover this, but anyway, we got
The
it.
minutes
Yes.
has been done already.
Yeah.
Is
So I
that,
think I supported the motion.
Okay,
Mr. Darga made the motion
right,
and I support.
right. Well, we're in discussion, I guess, but,
Oh, yeah.
one, if we don't spend the 300, is that going back then, you know?
Yeah, we only get what we spend.
Okay,
Right.
We don't get
okay.
the 300.
It's been granted to us, but only if we
It's
use
been
it.
set aside for us,
Yes.
All right.
obligated to us.
Okay, any more discussion? If not, call the roll.
Choppa,
Yes,
Shalini,
Yes,
Heidemann,
Yes.
Darga.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
pay the purchase Sheriff's Department.
Yes, they did come to me, asking for 12 new tasers and had a quote. The ones they have now are no longer being made. But cartridges are still being made they still have supplies through the company for a couple more years. So they would like to rotate them out and they'll get some money back off of the bill for it. So we agreed to do 6 instead of the full 12 this time. And 2 of them will be paid for from SRO money. 2 of them will be paid for remaining funds that we had out of the LATCF that we delegated for the sheriff's department. And 2 will be from their budget, which they have a line item every year for.
How much
So
are
this
they?
would be this year,
17,956.68
17 what?
956.68.
For 6 of them?
for
That's
6.
for 6 of them. That includes the cartridges and different items that the holsters, all those kinds of things that you get with it, because it's like anything, nothing can fit in the same holster.
If we look back, I don't think they've gone up that much from the last time we bought them. They're almost $3,000 a piece.
And this comes with a few more cartridges before. it
Correct.
was Just, they were a couple thousand.
Yeah, they were over 2,000 before, so.
Yeah, cause the shots are like 28, 35 bucks
Yeah.
per charge.
So I'll make a motion that we pay that
Sport,
Motion and support to
17,000.
17,956.68.
approve the purchase of tasers in the amount of 17,956.68. Any more discussion?
The max.
Excellent, yeah.
Not, you know,
You're at Selene,
Yes.
Heidemann,
Yes,
Darga.
Yes.
Bailey,
Oh, yes,
Chapel.
yes, motion carried. MERS conference,
Yes, every year you have to decide if you're going to allow anyone to go to the merge conference. This year's conference is in Grand Rapids. So registration, if you get in. Oh, okay, is $255 if we can get registered before August 9th.
has anybody asked to go?
I can't hold elections of the employees until the board decides if they're gonna send anybody.
They're
So what it
approved.
usually is a delegate from the board,
Delegate from the union,
not employees.
employees, okay.
Employees,
Yeah.
and then it used to be myself, in the past, Bridget has gone as well.
Who's the delegate that always went from the board?
It
It
varied,
varied.
it varied.
The board decided amongst themselves.
Yeah.
Who wanted to go.
Probably someone that's participating in it, I would imagine.
Yeah,
Well, everybody here is participating in it, but it's,
Oh, that's
we
right.
should, be aware of what's going on.
That's right.
right,
Detroit is always a very expensive year, so we try to avoid that one, but we've always tried to do the Grand Rapids and Traverse City, because they rotate every 3 years for locations.
the conference is, what is the conference, do we get something for this conference? I mean, do we get intel, good information?
yeah, it's all very informative.
I've gone to it and it's very informative.
And I should
Would you
give
want to go
Well,
again,
it's-
John?
No, I went to.
It's a retirement for all of our people
What
and
day?
what's happening with the fund and
It's
What day?
October 10th and 11th.
9th.
Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah, the 10th and 11th. 9th starts up the first day registration.
Registration, but the conference is on the 10th
That's
and 11th.
horrible.
It used to
Were
be
you
a
interested,
3-day.
Cliff?
No,
No,
that's
it's
hard
short.
this time.
Oh,
I mean, it would be interesting, but
If the board chooses not to send someone, you can still choose to send other delegates, just that maybe a board member doesn't go, but you have to approve whether or not you're going to allow it.
well, I'll
It's
make
an all or
a,
nothing deal.
right, I'll make a motion that we allow the, a commissioner, of an employee, and either the clerk or the treasurer
Officer
to
delegate.
officer delegate to attend the Grand Rapids MERS conference in October on the 10th and 11th.
sport.
And then we can go amongst ourselves and they can figure out who they want to send.
Wow, expenses.
$255.
I know. but
August
that's it,
9th.
August
I
9th,
have
so
to hold
keep
an
that
election.
in mind if you are going. So,
255 per person or?
Yes,
Yeah.
Plus expenses.
Yep, plus expense.
Have the support for that.
Yeah,
yes, you did.
Great. Motion support to approve the attendance at the MERS conference in October. Roll call.
Heidemann,
Yeah, as long as it's not me.
Darga,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Papa.
Yeah.
Malini.
Yes.
Good. Contract, City of Onaway.
Yes, Sheriff Brubaker, took me here today, but he did meet with city officials. And, they did come to an agreement for another year. The one change, even though it doesn't increase the amount the county will receive, it decreases the number of, designated hours
Yeah.
down to 10.
From,
What, I think it was 12. Yeah,
12
per week,
from what?
from 12 down to 10,
2 hours.
yeah. And he said good conversations were going with
Well-
them about.
What was the deal about the city possibly purchasing a car?
They're
That's
still
still
looking
the work.
into it. Yep, they're looking into getting a car, and it's between the city manager Kelly and the council there, they're in conference to get this back on track to the full hours that we've had before, and hopefully a car.
The
with it
idea of the
also.
car is to bring the mileage charges down, is that
Correct,
correct?
yes, and then, yeah. Cause our officer that lives there usually gives the coverage, so he'd be able to use their car. And get a lot
You're not
cheaper.
necessarily-
Two officers in the area there.
No, it's different officers do the coverage. That's why it's costing, because we're taking our cars over there.
Right,
Well, they're
but
not
if
assigned
they
to
could get,
that.
they can get their car though, one of the officers from there could do the coverage though. I think that's what we talked about before.
Mhm.
They won't do that.
Isn't that right? Wayne?
It's open to
No.
any deputy that wants to.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Not just those that live there.
And it's more of a good faith gesture, the
Right.
car is, I mean, that's, I get that there is an expense to that, but. The hours are the thing.
12 hours isn't really much.
Well, when we go to 10, that's my question, how do we, 10
Probably an
hours?
hour. and
Yeah,
drive
but
to
you,
get there.
that's beyond the regular. I
right,
mean,
they're still
during the day
patrolling, yeah,
anyways.
right.
This is beyond the regular.
Above the regular.
Correct.
Right.
And they do have a building for them and they are taking care of those expenses.
That
I would make that motion.
sport.
Okay, we have a motion support to enter into the intergovernmental agreement with Onaway for sheriff's patrol in the amount of $25,000. And for the chairman to sign it.
Yep.
Any more discussion?
No, the motion doesn't state the reduction in hours, but
No, it's just that it's, because it
Okay.
doesn't state all the contract with it either.
all right.
Well, I'm glad to hear that we came to an agreement on this because there was some dispute. I think this
Mhm.
figure has been in place for 10 years or more.
Oh,
so-
way.
Oh, more than that, yeah.
So it's
And it-
time
Since it's-
that we did address it. so.
It does automatically roll over, right? There's no, it just, the following year, it just goes until we talk about it more.
Maybe we have to approve it
says
annually.
for 1 year.
We approve it
1
annually.
year.
It's year to
It
year.
doesn't automatically, we
No,
have
I
to
don't
approve
think
it each year.
Doesn't?
No.
No,
The
it does.
statement says 1 year.
The agreement shall automatically renew from year to year.
What?
Unless,
Right,
One of the
so,
parts.
okay,
it
Well,
does have that
That's not
caveat.
what this says.
Oh,
Well, no, but that's because all the terms of the agreement are not in the motion.
Right,
So it's in
correct.
the agreement that you saw.
so we have to be mindful of that, it's just gonna keep rolling unless we bring the
And
topic
we have
up.
been working.
No,
on it.
I agree. Yeah.
Or terminate or whatever.
thanks,
whatever can
thanks for
happen.
bringing that up.
Good. Any more discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Darga,
Yes,
Haley,
Yes,
Papa,
Yes,
Malini,
Yes,
Heidemann.
Yes,
motion carried.
There's 2 contracts on that line,
Right, Assistant prosecutor,
and Ken is actually here. so-
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to put that on the end of the agenda today. He hasn't started any other signed paperwork, so if you could just pass that.
Just push it down.
Alright. will
It's,
do.
well,
Thank you.
is it just a matter of he's gonna sign, but introductions?
Right, and then I can bring it. But he.
I know, but we can take action now.
Yeah,
We could just bring him down and introduce him later.
That's fine if you want.
Yeah.
And we can-
As long as he's already, between you guys have agreed on
Nothing's
it.
gonna change between now and then.
Okay.
Didn't get in here this morning as early as I thought. he would.
That's okay.
Good.
make a motion that we
We're
have our
still,
prosecutor enter into a contract for an assistant prosecutor.
Oh, I don't have that motion. No,
I didn't
pre-written,
see it.
sorry.
But
It's
it would
with
be
Blaze
Blaze Ryan.
And the amount is 52,000. That was,
Yep.
Effective
What is
July
the
1,
figure?
52.
52,000, effective
52,
52. Yeah.
even.
For the year,
and that's,
effective
that's
July
a
1.
contract employee.
Let's state the name of the,
Blaze,
Blaze Ryan,
yeah,
How do I
thank
spell
you.
that?
BLAISE.
SERYAN.
All right, can we have a motion to
I
that
did.
effect?
We need a support for.
For it.
Motion and support to enter into a contract with Blaze Ryan for the position of assistant prosecutor in the amount of
Yearly contract.
beginning July 1st. Any more discussion?
Is he still working for a law firm here in town?
Yeah, private practice. Yeah.
So he's gonna do this.
That's what we've had
Ad
for the
hoc.
last several.
It's my understanding he's
2 years.
phased out of that, but he also works for Presque Electric. That's why it's a contract. It's we did that, I did that a couple of years ago.
And this is also our lawyer, right?
No.
No.
It's not our lawyer.
No, he's getting he's contract 1099. He's working for Presque too. Huh. Must have got rid of the LP law.
Well, the other guy went to became a judge.
Yeah, Mike Hector, Judge Hector.
Well, Ken, you're satisfied that he has the time available to do what you need from an assistant prosecutor,
He's
correct?
phasing out of the other practice. He's in the
Okay.
process of phasing out, so my understanding, will just be doing this and then also working at Presque Electric. They had one board meeting a month that he has to attend. But he should have. time.
Probably isn't a lot of work there.
2 board meetings a month. Depends over there.
That's Tuesday.
Oh, just.
Okay. Any more, if no more discussion, let's call the roll.
Saley,
Yes,
Chapa,
Yes,
Palini,
Yes.
Heidemann.
Yes,
Carter.
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Public hearing on the proposed 2024-2025 budget.
So you have to
Our
declare
budget.
the public hearing open.
You have to declare it. All right. Public hearing is open. 10-12. On the adoption of the proposed 2024-2025 budget. Budget year begins 1st July. Anyone?
chased everybody out of here.
They have another meeting. If not,
Yeah, I guess.
You
Well, they can close the budget hearing
Well, sure.
at 12:10:13.
It's short as that.
Oh, man. Okay, then we're down to the budget adoption.
I'll make a motion that we adopt 2024-2025 general fund revenue budget in the amount of $7,199,603.58. And the 2024-2025 fiscal general fund expenditure budget in the amount of $7,163,977.18.
Support that.
Okay, we have a motion of support to adopt the budget as presented. Any more discussion?
yes, I'd like to thank everybody that worked on that. The finance committee and the clerk in particular. I found the workshop, the budget workshop, very helpful. We went through it in great detail. Any questions were answered. And this budget allows us to give some raises to staff that are long overdue. And it also adequately funds the department without going into the red. So I think the finance committee and the clerk ought to be proud for putting that together.
I agree.
Along with all the other department heads and appointed officials that
Yes,
did up
that's it.
their budgets,
That's right.
went very, very well. Yeah, thanks, Mary Ann.
Excellent work, yeah,
Yes.
thanks.
And as people here at the table know, each department head submits their budget request, so the information is coming directly from the people who use the money.
Use the money, correct.
So that's the foundation of the budget, and especially in comparison to other counties that are facing deficit budgets. I'm really happy
Yeah, we should be
with the
proud,
team
yes.
here.
Yep.
Anything else? If not, we'll call the roll.
Chapel,
Yeah,
Selene,
Yes.
Scheidemann,
Yes,
Durga,
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
motion carried. 2023-2024 budget
No,
amendment.
2024. Oh, yeah, yep.
Revenue.
last.
Special, we gotta do the special revenue first. Adopt our special revenue and enterprise budgets, which include the 911 fund of,
You want to list them all or?
well,
Those-
airport fund, ARPA fund, building and zoning, childcare fund, concealed weapon. There's a whole list that's here. It's quite lengthy, so I will make the motion with as presented to us by our clerk. Both revenue and expenditures.
Before we do that, for a second, that, don't we have to adopt that budget by resolution?
We've never done those before.
Ever? All right.
And just a clarification on that, the thing we acted on earlier was the general fund budget, and these are all the restricted funds
Restricted funds,
for
yeah.
particular purposes, and they have to be separately adopted. So that's why they're listed individually here.
Okay.
And that's
You got
very
the
helpful.
road commission.
Yep. pretty much.
So you made that motion, Mike?
I scored it.
And,
We have a
Okay,
motion-
now I'll talk.
Yeah, it's 29, yeah.
We have a motion for
Right.
to adopt the special revenue budget.
From the numbers list here, I will give you two things that did change. One, I had a correction just on the law library. I had 69,000 in income. I corrected it to 59. It's a in-out type. We all-
5,900.
5,900,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
And the other one, sorry, was the. I think it was the opioid settlement. Initially, I may have had just 50,000 going out in the expenditures. I upped it to 100.
Here's the opioid is.
Yeah, and that's.
Oh,
the under
national.
N.
Okay. So say that again.
I had a correction from what was requested, like when they turn in their budget worksheets.
Right.
For the revenue of the law library, I had 6,900 and it should have been 5,900. I caught that when I was.
But the corrected amount is shown on
It
this
is,
thing.
it is. I'm just
Okay.
pointing out from the workshop to now, if you
Okay.
would have looked
Okay.
at
All
it.
right,
What's the
Got
difference
it.
in the opioid?
It was just because we had a meeting with officials that hopefully there's gonna be a committee kind of moving forward to start.
That uses some
finding
of this
ways
money.
To use the money. So there's some momentum ongoing, which I'm.
It's
excited
got
about.
restricted ways that we can spend it,
It is very restricted.
very restricted.
We didn't
Um,
spend much of it.
We haven't
haven't
spent
spent
any,
any
we haven't
because-
spent anything
They
yet.
need by them lock boxes.
No.
No, not out of opioid money.
Oh,
Because of all the
More for,
caveats as far as
prevention.
restrictions on what to do.
well, because the money's supposed to go to the
Prevention. and-
Prevention,
Prevention.
rehab.
rehab.
assisting the people that
And-
have
and
this
Big
problem.
problem is there's not personnel.
So like I said, there was a very good meeting that I attended last week at City Hall that they hosted. I can report on that later on. So there is some good involvement, community
And-
involvement
and
moving
Get,
forward.
get
So
some
that's-
ways of spending it, yeah.
So that's from 75 to 100.
Yeah.
On the expenditure side, yeah. Yeah, we already have more than that in the bank, but we gotta start looking at how to get it.
And that is a one-time, no,
No, this money will be coming in over the next 18 years.
Yeah, because it was a 20-year program.
So it's not like it's all in one dump, it's coming in little at a time, and we'll have another settlement to agree on next meeting, actually. Smaller amount, but another one. I don't know how many's left, but we're almost to the end of it.
Okay, any more discussion? Not?
Sweeney,
Yes.
Heidemann,
Yes,
Darga,
Yes,
Bailey,
yes,
Chapa.
Yeah. Motion carried. Aging.
Nope,
no budget
one
amendments.
more,
Okay.
one more.
one more.
That, now we're at budget amendments for 2023-2024.
And this allows, because we still have, you know, as the year goes through and departments have to change their numbers and stuff like that. They do, but sometimes towards the end, we get to where it's gonna go over, but we can't come back after the fact and have a board meeting and say, okay, I approve.
Balancing it out.
Yeah,
That's
so this is a standard because I have those that we pay back into July and August.
Correct.
So I need to do it though before the 30th of the
You
month.
normally do it quarterly. Do you?
Amendments as needed.
As needed.
Throughout the year, yeah. We do department amendments that don't affect the bottom line.
Our internal.
I can do those without, but it's
because
when
it's already
it's,
been okay, but when it goes, when it increases the bottom line, that's.
and then there's
yeah.
times like, you know, if I found out in mid-May, well, I know we're gonna be doing it June, I might not bring it because I know we're gonna be doing it, an amendment here, so it's gonna cover it, everything.
I'll make a motion to authorize amendments to the fiscal budgets of 23-24 general fund and fiscal year 23-24 special revenue and expenditure funds. Reflect all funds received and expended through June 30th, 2024, subject to review by the finance committee.
We have support for that.
You do support.
Okay, motion support to approve the budget amendments for fiscal year 2023-2024 and special revenue expenditure funds. Any more discussion? Not call the roll.
Item.
Yes,
Yes,
Saley,
yes,
Papa,
Yeah,
Shalini.
Yes.
motion carried. Okay, area agency on aging draft fiscal year 2025 annual implementation plan.
we go through this every year.
We went through it last year. I don't know if
Yeah.
we went through it before because last year seemed to be the first year that I remember doing it, but I had sent this a while ago.
Right,
Yeah.
come through an email.
Yeah,
Yep.
a while ago to review, but they do require each board.
Yeah,
Acknowledges receipt, which is one thing, but that they, you know, review, and if you have any comments or concerns, it says that you can do that by July 22nd, but.
and you have to contact them.
Correct, it doesn't go
Yep.
through me.
No,
well, there was quite a lot of material in the
yeah,
report that was submitted.
Motion to approve the 2025 area agency plan on
second,
aging plan.
Okay, we have motion support to approve the area agency on aging annual implementation plan. Any more discussion?
Well, that, as far as I was concerned, looking through there, they're setting out goals and explaining how they're gonna spend the money. And the goals establish kind of a baseline of their mission. And that money has helped seniors in our area quite a lot.
yeah, whether it be taking them to the doctor or Meals on Wheels
Right.
or bringing them to the center for meetings or whatever, yeah, and.
Yeah.
All spelled out, but it's all the paperwork too, so.
Right,
Anything else? Not?
No, just,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
doesn't prepare any
No.
funding from the county, so.
Okay, I guess for closed session.
Yep. So you
For
gotta,
negotiations and wages.
Okay,
I'll make a motion that we go to closed session for negotiations and wages.
support. Have a motion support to go into closed session for negotiations.
Darga,
Yes.
Saley,
Yes.
Chapa,
Yeah.
Shalini,
Yes.
Heidemann.
yes.
It's not gonna take that long. Yes, please. Thanks.
But we have to get the press.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say it's recorded when we need gone.
So you like it better? That school stuff? No, you like it?
I love the school gig. I
Good.
never thought
When we start, 10:34, you said?
24, I think, 10.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, I think there's a quad over that next week going crack too.
I know how you feel.
Still hurts, man.
There's nothing you can do. If it's a cracked rib, it's cracked rib.
But the quad.
On top of yourself?
Yeah, trying to get cattle in.
Oh, yeah.
Then I slipped off a private.
Yeah, no
Is it
kidding. Time
You better start looking for a white collar job there, son.
to retire.
My wife said, I laughed at her. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Hiring.
Retired.
Yeah. I've tried it. Doesn't work.
Doesn't.
No, you shouldn't do it anyways. People shouldn't. You can slow down.
I don't do a lot. I don't do a lot of it. I don't do any contracting anymore, but.
I planted very little corn this year. The kids all planted it. I think I planted 60 acres. maybe.
Time for them to start.
Yeah, they did quite a bit. They still doing 3 of them.
Yeah.
How many acres of corn do you have in?
200
Beans?
beans and got 150. Then I got 180 acres.
That one, yeah, for sure.
500 acres of hay to make. That I just started.
Hay should be doing really well this day. That's good. You're gonna need an extra horsepower on your tractor to cut that shit.
It's a lot of hay.
So when you do it,
Yeah.
you do. Not do the, hold on, where am I at? Upside down. This one right here. You just list those. I don't have them on that, on there. If you gotta go by.
But I
this
got,
one.
I'm gonna go with this.
Yeah,
I got
so
that
you gotta
listed.
use this column.
Yep, we propose.
We're back in open session at 11:03. And so we're at, okay.
Yep, number 12 was removed.
Move.
So
Now we got
are-
salaries and wages.
So
They're elected and appointed.
Good.
I'll make the motion that we approve the following raises for the various elected and appointed officials,
Maybe
Plus-
just-
plus that
Salary, I should have the word. salary.
salary
New proposed
New
salary.
proposed salaries
Yeah, we'll be talking.
for the
about-
prosecutor, $88,750. Our sheriff, $70,700. Under sheriff, $67,300. Our clerk, $56,500. Treasurer, $55,500. Register of deeds, $54,500. Our veterans counselor, $17,000. Airport manager, $28,750. Emergencies manager, $34,500. Equalization
These are hourly.
hourly, yes, raised to $27.80. Maintenance supervisor salary, hourly, up to $22 an hour. The following for the commissioners, chairman will receive $4,000, vice chair $3,500, remaining commissioners $3,000, and that's my motion.
For
Clarification, please, that the airport manager is based on a 28-hour week.
Yep.
And the emergency manager based at a 30-hour week.
Okay, thank you, Marianne.
manager, airport's 28 hours.
It's on the sheet.
Oh, yeah, it's on there.
Yeah, but I didn't read it.
Motion.
Yeah, no,
All
that's
right.
fine.
These are effective.
July 1.
July 1. And did we get a second on
Yes,
that?
Cliff.
Mr. Tellini did.
Okay,
Okay, any more discussion? If not, call the roll.
July 1st.
Saley,
Yes.
Papa,
Yeah.
Tellini.
Yes.
yes.
Sarda.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you, everyone. Gets me down to committee reports.
Well, we met personnel, we've been meeting all month.
Certainly.
Have nothing to report. We're still waiting on our contract ratifications. As soon as we hear from the unions, we will report back to our future board meetings. We met Tuesday. Wayne, you can report on your committees for Tuesday.
Courthouse
What?
and grounds.
Courthouse and grounds. I've got it here. We met with the sheriff. Wayne and I met with the sheriff, under sheriff. We had airport here. We had, representative from our 40 Mile Point Lighthouse. And Mike, our maintenance supervisor. Sheriff's work program, the reporter is only like one on it, so they're gonna suspend it till October. They had a patrol car this past week that was hit from a deer. And it's gonna take some time to
Do what?
no, one of our older ones. And they're still waiting for parts, for one of the new ones to get ready, but they're gonna have it fit out just enough, for the parade on the 4th of July in Onaway. And then after that, they'll get it fit out the rest of the way. They had a scam awareness class, which was across the street here at our theater, went very, very well. They had a gentleman there from the Secret Service that, did all the PowerPoints. And, good reception, a lot of people there,
A lot of people.
a lot of people.
Good.
120, I think.
It was over 100. Yeah.
That's a good,
100 to
Excellent.
120 people.
good turnout. Yeah.
They had an interview for a possible road deputy position on Wednesday. Jail inspection went good, and at that note, our juvenile holding cell was also okayed by the Department of Corrections. Everything else good. Waiting on
There's
the
another,
juvenile division that comes in to do the finalize, and that'll be in a few more weeks after they get everything all cleaned up. Corrections officer Saley and Irwin will graduate from their corrections school, which they did Wednesday. So how did everything go?
They graduated.
Yeah, good. We talked about the Onaway contract for our coverage there, up and above the hours that we do. It's up to 10, we lowered it to 10 hours a week versus 12. We discussed the jail is going to need a new washer and dryer to wash all the linens, and they were advised to go with a heavy duty commercial versus just the bigger load wash machines because they do a lot of laundry there. So did I forget anything on that? Okay, and then they did say the new air conditioner at the sheriff's department is working very, very well. They got to keep the doors open at night because it gets a little bit too cold in their offices when they get there in the morning. Mike gave a presentation. Now they're putting some security boxes, which was gonna be one here and one up by the courtrooms. So if somebody comes in and they had a knife or something, they just put it in this box to secure me till they leave to go home
well, no, it's surrendered.
for the whole day. But
It's
they,
surrendered, period. The
Well,
person
I-
has the ability to go back to their car and take it back to their
oh,
vehicle, or it's surrendered because we're not tagging and returning.
okay,
Okay, good.
okay. Now I didn't understand it that way. Okay.
And the boxes are installed already.
Akiak Outdoor Center, the roofs are about 90% completed.
99 by now.
Okay, 99 by now, and they're still trying to figure out the bat problem there, which they're going to either caulk around windows and stuff and maybe put extra bat houses out to control that. Air at 40 Mile Point, I keep forgetting his first name. Pat gave a report that Calcite Pilot House has been all re-welded and repainted. And 90% of the tuck pointing that's going on at the 40 Mile Point Lighthouse is 90% completed. And Bliss painting should be just about done this week with, or will be done with the bathroom paintings in the public bathrooms. That's all I had.
Just that also, it was nice of the Mason workers to also assist the lighthouse staff in preparing some shingles while they were up in the lift.
Right, that's
So we
right.
don't have to hire somebody else to do
Well,
that.
that was nice.
Yeah, they did that.
Did under sheriff give you a report at the meeting?
He was not there.
He was not there. But-
He said.
and
Joe was there? Did anybody ask him about?
No, I did not.
Why?
I did talk a little bit. Chris is gonna get me the answer. I did talk.
I need
to the
to get that
undersheriff.
answer. I
Okay,
was
I told me
gonna
they will,
talk to
they will contact you.
I was gonna call.
'Cause I told him, I said, you'll be probably calling them. Officer Lee, do you know how many we have in jail?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a
Okay,
The
you can,
report.
well, okay, what, if you could wait, then you could do it during the governmental report. That, okay, that's all I have. Right, Wayne? Yep. Okay,
Al was there too, and that he did. The new bid package should be out about July 8th.
right, but he said he was gonna get back with us on that.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
that he was also present.
Hey, Bill. But,
Well, are you going to special appointments?
Yep.
Yeah.
just.
Road
done with this
commission,
one, yep.
road commission.
So,
The news that GFL was sold to Priority Waste. Just so you know,
GFL,
Was sold. Wow.
Priority, all of
Well,
GFL,
I saw that they were for sale and they put themselves up for sale.
they're down in Clinton Township. That's the new type of.
okay,
uh, I just wanted to let you know that. They chose John Rogers from Kalkaska to be the Michigan County Roads Commission's self-insurance pool ballot.
Is this road commission?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm sorry, I didn't tell you that.
you did, but then you went to recycling, so I kind of was not sure where to go with it.
All right, Tucker Price from Onaway was hired full-time at the Posen Garage. Nick Idalski from Posen has moved to Rogers City Garage to work closer with Keith until his retirement in April 2025. Deegan Felix has been hired as a part-time summer help and is working 2 days in the shop and 2 days on the road for Keith. He wants to get the mechanic's job.
oh, okay. Yeah, that thing
He's gonna get the
That's
certification.
good because
good.
those aren't easy to find.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, special trades are hard to find anymore.
Fairly hard. Dave attended Presque Township meeting with Mark Straley and proposed Lake Street project, asphalt project, and it was well accepted by the township residents, and they're moving forward with the special assessment.
Which one? Which township?
Presque. He attended Behringer Township meeting. And Catalano went to chairman. Proposed options on Bluffs Highway. They gave a presentation of different options, not just permaZine, but asphalting. And they're looking forward to hearing from them and coming up with something, because the people on Bluffs are quite upset. All right. That was basically the main stuff. There's one other thing I wanted. Oh, that was it. It was a short meeting. It was really short.
What, every once in a while,
They approved charging station for Presque Electric on their product. Oh,
Where's the location?
oh, that, where's the boat launch there?
Yeah.
Grand Lake. What's it called?
Webster Park?
no, the old Sand Bay Marina.
Yeah.
Going on, that's not on the.
Park is Webster Park.
No, that's not
Woody's, is that Woody's?
Woody's.
Yeah,
Woody's.
There
so
you
it's
go,
at
Woody's.
It's
Yeah.
not at the
Okay.
park.
Well,
Right.
right,
but-
Woody's.
Okay,
It's foreign area.
the old Sand Bay Marina.
right.
But yeah, they approved it. It's there.
How many? One?
One.
One.
You all set?
I'm done.
Okay, I got a couple of northern Michigan counties. We discussed some pending legislation in Lansing, which surprised me, which is to say, there's a draft out there for state action on the lake level agreements to add in all lake level agreements, the flexibility language that we now are paying a private attorney to try to insert into our two lake levels. So I asked the representative whether we should take that out of our contract, and she said, well, I wouldn't, because you never know what the legislature is gonna
Right,
do.
or how long it'll
But I
take,
just-
yeah.
It highlights the fact that everybody with a port set lake level is in the same, has the same problem.
Yeah.
So it is being discussed.
Hmm.
Also, the Axe My Tax and the local choice ballot initiatives, neither one of them made it. They
Right.
didn't get the signatures, so they won't be on the ballot.
Right.
Went to NEMCOG. Once again, NEMCOG did not have a quorum, so they could not take official action. That's the
Really?
second, time.
I've never had that.
Well,
situation.
that's an issue, isn't it?
I guess so.
Yeah. I try to make sure I get there. Anyway, in lieu of doing official things, they did have a representative from Headwaters Land Conservancy there talking about the program. I would note that Headwaters Land Conservancy has some preserves in Presque County, some of them which are in my district, out on Evergreen Highway by the lake. Why is this an issue? They had some retirements from their board. Virginia Pierce and Brittany Vanderwall were both on the Headwaters Land Conservancy Board. And now they have some vacancies. So I have the name of the person to call if you have some recommendations. I would hate to see that group go without somebody from Presque County because they're active and I think some guidance is needed. Discussion at the meeting was they have these conservancies, which in theory are open to the public, but they're not marked. So the Denise from NEMCOG that has done all of the trail work to have the website that shows all the sites in all along 23 said, hey, you give me the data and we can get them on our maps. And I'm gonna try to push to make sure they mark them because it's great to have them and they're supposedly, but if you can't find it, what good does it do you? And in the past, they've been kind of, quiet about that. They didn't really want the public, even though public could go there. But I don't think that's in the public interest to hide the fact that there are these conservancies. If you go over on the west side, they're all marked, very well.
Yeah.
So I'd like to,
Are they tax exempt?
pardon?
Taxes.
Are they tax exempt? Probably not.
I don't think so,
So,
but the land is
okay.
taxed on the basis of having the limit
Conservancy,
on
yeah,
development
right, yeah,
there.
right.
So it is taxed, but at a lower
Right,
level.
okay, but
Okay.
it's still.
But in
So it-
exchange for that, it's supposed to be public
Right,
access.
right,
Right.
That was my point.
Exactly. Last but not least, the planning commission did hold the master plan hearing. And as you might have read in Mr. Jakey's article in the paper, what was really discussed was the solar project, which has very little to do with the master plan, but nonetheless. And last but not least, the Friends of Akiak Outdoor Center, well, I guess that's under
No, you got it right.
is that all right?
Yeah.
We had a very successful class on mural making, attended by 20 people, and now we have 3 phenomenal murals. Which unfortunately, this article did not get in the paper, but
There were artists from out of.
no,
No, there was one.
we had 1 supervising artist and 20 class people who did
Right,
the
at
painting.
the
Local
yeah.
citizens. Right.
Yes,
But I mean.
and those will be permanently mounted in the
I don't
studio building.
What's your question?
Who's the woman painted on the building?
I think that was a
That's
picture of the artist.
that did it.
Are you talking about this one?
Yeah, he's talking
Yeah.
one in town.
He's
He's talking about stuff in town, not,
Okay.
not.
Let's stick to this.
Yeah.
one.
All right,
Is
so
it-
I think this is gonna be a tremendous addition to our building and hooray.
Yeah.
This is murals they painted at the Akiak Outdoor Center, Cliff, and it's going on that garage.
Inside,
Inside.
inside.
Yes,
I guess they gotta go out there and look up there.
yeah.
Yep,
The main one
Oh,
is 4 foot by 20 foot, you said?
24 feet,
24 foot by 4 foot, yeah.
yeah, across the whole back wall.
Back wall.
And then
This is
2
in
or
the-
4
this
by
is in
8,
the
one of them's
rec room,
horizontal.
ain't it? Right here, where they're doing it in the rec room.
No, it's all in that garage. That's been repaired.
They painted on drywall? Would you?
Canvas.
On plywood boards,
Plywood.
1/2 inch plywood. That's all I have, thank you.
I got
I had
one
a
more
quick-
question. Go ahead.
Well, no, go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, on them conservancies, there's even public access on a private parcel that's put in a land conservancy.
Well, they
These-
have to transfer them if. they're-
It depends, there's different levels of situation, but these are privately held parcels that have access rights because they're a conservancy.
So
Depends on the language of the agreement.
So not all of them have access.
Correct, not all of them. Like the agriculture ones, there aren't
Well, I just,
access provisions,
I was just
as you
wondering,
know.
I had an answer.
But it depends on the language of each agreement. But some of them have public access, so they get a preferential tax rate,
Right,
and they should be so identified so the public can find them.
right, exactly. So Brittany just stepped down from that?
Yes,
'Cause she
Brittany-
said retirement, she's hardly
stepped-
retirement age.
She's kind of
no,
young.
no, but these are appointments.
Yeah.
She stepped down from her appointment on the Headwater Land Conservancy Board.
Okay, and is not running for reappointment?
It's not a running, you're not
You're
elected,
appointed.
you're
Well, I mean,
appointed.
I know, but why
She's-
wouldn't they
No letter of
reappoint
interest
her?
filed.
You have to
be
talk to her, but she's on. She actually requested to not be reappointed.
Okay.
Okay, and
Okay.
Virginia Pierce requested not to be reappointed.
Okay,
She
Pierce
didn't get
is,
kicked off.
okay, Pierce
they-
is also a Presque resident.
Yes,
Okay.
do you know
I don't
Virginia
think so.
Pierce?
Wouldn't ask a
She
question.
runs a major, they have a, I forget the name of the lake. Yes, she's a long-term conservationist person. She was a long-term employee of DNR, was a
Oh, I
wildlife
think, yeah, like
specialist.
Nettie probably, I think.
She and,
She's a forester, ain't she?
Brittany Vanderwall
Was.
Brittany.
was.
She quit?
No,
She-
she's still
she
a
took a different
forester, she's
job.
got a different
just got a
job, she's
different
not
job.
at the conservation.
No,
I see.
I think she's doing the same kind of work.
Gotcha.
Okay,
All right.
that's all I have.
That's crazy.
How about Carl Heidemann, what do you mean?
And we
Okay, go ahead, I attended the, I guess, Ralph, I attended the health board meeting on the 18th, big, deal was the weapons-free policy, which was voted down. Mainly because, I think mainly,
For the employees, John?
yeah,
Mm,
because it included searches of desks, storage, sheds, lockers, purses, backpacks, cars. And people felt that that was too intrusive, even though you know, the people use their cars for work, so.
mm.
It was voted down and I guess it's going back to the attorney, but it was presented based on the attorney's recommendation.
That's
That was the
interesting.
biggie, I guess,
Keep us informed.
yeah. And we were kind of, we did have a quorum, good job. Jenny McNamara, who's our administrative assistant, and a 30-year employee, got Employee of the Year award. And they don't award them every year, I guess, so it's a big deal, kind of. We adopted an immunization chart audit review policy, so that when there's a listing of what they have to check off when they do immunizations. They were handing out, and still you can get gun safety locks from the health department and the Michigan State Police. And I guess the big one is, another big one, is our allocation, requested allocation. It's gone up, to, 10,906, 10,906.
Where are you seeing? Oh, on the very bottom.
Yeah, the bar.
For health department?
Yeah.
I know I had it emailed to me.
And we had a decrease last year. I didn't realize it was based on property.
SEV.
Because Alpena County's actually went down, but ours did too last year. So it's kind of trailing. The, you know, kind of old information, I guess you could say, but. And that increase is 5%. So not in view of inflation figures, it's not bad, I guess. The school wellness, they've had 2 resignations.
Again?
Well, the RN resigned and she was on staff, but I guess the social worker candidate withdrew. They shouldn't even take the position, so.
You're never gonna get to replace these
Just,
people.
that's going back to the opiate thing. There's just there's no people, no personnel for those jobs, fortunately. Sanitarian had no updates on the statewide septic code, but he feels that at some point we will have one.
They're gonna drag it out as long as they can.
Pardon?
They're just gonna drag it out as long as they can. That should have been acted on last year already.
Well, I'd rather they work on it and get a good one rather than something fast and not so good, personally, but, we settled a workers' compensation case, I guess was a slip and fall in the amount of $43,657.
Wow,
It's a lot of money.
that's a big slip and fall.
Must have broke something.
Wow.
The measles surveillance update, there are none from Michigan for months. That's good news. Good thing we have an IT supervisor again, because you probably all heard about the medical scams.
The guy seems to know his stuff, though. He
Extortion.
seems to be a good guy.
Yeah. As a precaution, I have blocked incoming email from Grand Traverse while they deal with a cybersecurity incident. So, that kind of stuff is happening. We put in a security camera system in the Alpena office. They screened 287 preschool students for oral health. And,
So you guys had a quorum. I called Kendra to make sure you were there.
Yeah.
I couldn't get there. I had to finish,
Yeah,
I had to
gone.
finish planting that
That's why you
field.
gotta, yeah. That's fine.
I mean, if it wasn't all the way to Alpena, I told her I'd take off though if she didn't have it, but they'd be a half hour late,
Mhm.
which is better than not having a meeting, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, I guess that's all I have. Commissioner comment?
Just one comment on the pending grant application, the one involving the solar
The
production.
GT one?
Yes, the 375,000. I had contacted the staff person to see where we're at, because when we submitted, he said, would get back to us right away. Hi, Mary Ann, we had to process applications in the order they were received, so there were a couple just ahead of you that are taking a bit of time to sort out. If there's any urgency on your part, I can reach out to my supervisor and see if things can be expedited. If not, have no worries, we'll get to your application ASAP. We had agreed in our proposed intended use plan that would go to the HVAC system.
HVAC.
So I don't think it's urgent, but it's important.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's all I have.
Okay, with regard to that, I did talk to Toby about Belknap's. And he said they're doing theirs, and I also talked to Pulaski, and they said they're working on theirs, so. I was happy to hear that, because I thought you had gotten
I
other
talked to both of them.
information.
And I thought Toby would be in ahead of us, but I guess not.
Who's writing it for the township?
Just super, well, I think the clerk in Pulaski, and I think Toby's doing it. He's the
Toby's doing it,
supervisor
yeah.
in Belknap. I think he's doing that one.
I have no information about what they're applying for, because you have to specify the use you'd like,
Yeah, they didn't give me that either.
you know. But it would be a shame if they didn't apply, and
Yeah.
September's the deadline.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Be a
right.
shame if you
That's
didn't show
why
up.
I drive in water too.
That'd be a
but
shame.
Well, I'm the clerk.
Not a
You
whole
know,
lot
we-
for us till you get it.
It's there.
Yeah,
You're foolish to not take it.
right, right.
Or apply for it for sure. So, yeah. Anybody?
I have
else?
nothing. No, I have nothing.
Wayne, well,
Comments?
I guess I want to talk about the presentation we had last month. And, I don't know, is there any sentiment for?
Yes,
talking to
I-
this
I-
guy?
I
mean,
took-
nothing seems to be happening with the other people and.
Well, it's building and grounds, regarding different form of contracting for the improvements to this, the HVAC improvements. So he asked, he'd be willing to work with the team, but it has to include the people we have already hired to work on this. So we need to find out if a presenter is willing or able to work on a team that would include people we've already hired to look at making the HVAC as efficient and economical
Right.
as possible.
With-
Because as we all know, the estimate just kept going up and up and up.
well,
And if
so-
we can, I would like to see that happen, but that doesn't mean booting out the people we already hired. We're under contract to these folks. But I guess I'd have to refer it back to building and grounds to try to put that together, because that's, unless you want to do it as a full board workshop.
What's going on? I mean,
They're working
anything
at creating the bid package now.
they are.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're, well,
Well, I guess, is there sentiment for me to call them and?
I don't think
believe
at
he-
this time, until
he-
we figure out what's going on here first. Yeah.
Well, if you
I
got a
think they
big
need-
packet, then you're all done and it goes to bid and you're
Right,
not using
yeah,
these guys.
Right.
yeah.
So it's either,
Do it now
now
or
or
later,
never.
yeah. And I think, I'm pretty sure he said he was, open to working with our people,
well,
so
what's the
can I
fallback?
get a,
You got the HVAC in this annex. You've got a much larger
Yeah,
project on the larger building. We might say, all right, we're too far along in HVAC, we need to go
So we need
forward
help on this one.
and help where we're
Yes,
still
I
very
think- I think-
early.
I think we're,
I
I
did
think we're good
throw
with
that
that.
out to him as well.
Yes.
so,
And was he willing to?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
know,
okay.
sure.
Maybe that's the way to
That's the way to
go,
go, I
Yeah,
think. Yep.
okay.
if that's the recommendation.
I
Yeah.
just don't want it to drop.
Drop
And
off.
I don't want to violate a contract.
No,
No,
But frankly, the architect was completely uninformed about the old building proposal. And his engineers dug out the information, but that's still early in the process. Where we could use a team, including that architect and engineer or not. We haven't made any commitments to
Right,
them
no,
on
to
the
that
old
side,
building.
right, yeah.
Now,
prioritizing originally to get,
this.
well, we have to, because we have to
Yeah. we have a
designate
deadline.
use for the
Money.
ARPA money by this year.
Right.
And we have the money and it will be supplemented by this 375,000. And possibly,
Another 100.
well, yeah, the clerk and I were working on the extra 100,000 energy efficiency grant. Whether we can get that in by the deadline or not, I don't know. Because it's far more complicated than we were told.
No,
So I'm not gonna, oh, it's an easy application. And then we sat down yesterday and tried to work through it. It's not an easy
is that the
application.
TTE thing?
Yes,
but it's not a DTE grant, that's what people.
it's
gotta say.
an Eagle grant that was
It's Eagle
written.
grant,
Oh,
but it's
okay,
because
okay.
DTE is the ones doing solar, that's
I
who we're
see,
using. as
okay.
Yes.
the energy
Reference.
source.
Okay.
It
so
is not a DTE grant.
Community.
Yeah,
service.
and it may not fly. It's
Okay.
just the time is short and it's a very complicated mess.
Mm,
Plus with
So-
everything else we got on our backs.
Right.
well, still
So is that a
100 grand.
general approach that we would go
Yeah.
with what we got?
Yeah.
On this
I would
HVAC
say,
and then try to work, but it's not too, as soon as we get bidding or whatever. I'd like to go look at the old courthouse.
Yeah, because we need to get that in place if there's any money left.
That courthouse needs a roof. the old
big
one.
time.
Well, that is part of the plan, just for the
Put
future,
that
so
in.
you know,
Yeah.
when the architect is presenting. The findings for here to create the bid package and add-on will be for whoever the contractor is doing the roof repair here, will be to also re-shingle that side.
Wow, they're-
It'll be a separate add-on
But
amount, so the board in the future, when they get the contractor's bids, they could say, we're just gonna do this, or now we know we can move forward with both. Cause you got a contractor here, already on the clock, already got their equipment. might
They
as well-
should put steel on it.
so,
well, that's something that can be looked at.
But
That's what I put on mine.
that will come in,
I know the building, Mike, what's his name, Mike Tuck.
So
Yeah.
are we
I wouldn't
comfortable
want
with that
steel
approach?
unless it-
Sure.
yes.
Yes,
I wouldn't
Okay.
want
So
steel.
there's the answer.
Steel.
yeah,
Steel.
yeah.
Seems-
Good. Okay, other government officials,
Thanks.
you have,
Hi.
right,
Howdy. So I just have a couple brief things that, they've asked me to touch on. With regard to gun locks, we do have them available in our lobby as well.
oh,
For pickup.
good.
We have 13 inmates currently incarcerated, 1 in Sunrise Rehab, 1 in our GED program. Working on getting that. Human Services is working with 2 inmates. They have, on, drug rehabilitation, and, they're providing with contact information resources for their, when they exit. Jaeger Mix tendered his resignation as of June 13th. He was Carson's dispatch and was slated to, be sponsored at the academy. We wish him well and the rest of his endeavors. We did purchase some equipment needed to maintain our current taser fleet. 6 spare battery packs for simpler terms. 31 cartridges for the X2 tasers, 33 for the X26. Another 3 batteries, fuel for the X2s, and a voucher for the taser training for our instructor to renew the certification. With regard to the schools, I'm part of our school radio project that I approached the board about probably close to a year ago now, give or take, as finally is close to coming into full fruition. Telerad, our Motorola vendor, has given me a projected install date of a window between the 3rd and 4th week of July, probably said middle to end of July. So that will be online and off the ground for the beginning of the school year, as long as everything goes well. And again, that's for statewide communication for the buses and day-to-day operations, but the key part of the radio system is the instant emergency communications with our dispatch in the event that the alarm button on the front is activated, which gives us a live feed into the school or building, wherever that radio happens to be that's been activated. So that's some exciting things on the forefront there. Been working at it a long time. The timeline with the state of Michigan as far as getting them programmed and approved, and then the 5-month production time for the units themselves kind of put a wrench in the operation, just playing the waiting game, but it should be here online for the school year.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Why don't we have a work release thing?
I can
Sure,
answer that.
Because they're
Sheriff
not
program, he would probably wouldn't know.
It's
Yeah.
because the courts aren't
assigning.
assigning.
It seems like in the paper, though, there were a few, but a few.
Joe said there's one.
One.
One on board right now,
So,
so.
well, there was
It's
only
not-
one, they were out at Outback and there was only one
Right,
guy.
so.
So it's kind of.
Okay, well, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
I got a question. The new tasers, are they different? Are they the same model? What?
From what I know, I don't know exactly what was quoted, but they're supposed to be the X2s, which have. Where the unit I'm carrying is one of our original ones, the X26P.
Right.
You activate it, deploy one cartridge, and then you have to pull it off and reload, if you will, the other cartridge, whereas the X2s, they have 2 in the pipe ready to go. You can deploy it, then rapidly deploy the next. You also don't have to take the cartridge off of the X2s like these ones that you do a drive stun, which is, it's where you don't use the probes. It's got 2 metal probes that are built in the end of the taser, and you use that for pain compliance. Where versus the electromuscular incapacitation that the probes do. With the new ones, you don't have to take them off. Adding that extra amount of stress and fine motor skills that go out the window when you're in a fight and need to use it. So you activate it, you push the side button instead of the trigger, and you're able to apply that drive stun. And then also, when we check these daily, you don't have to take the cartridge off and do the spark check. You just push the same button you would to do the drive stun. And it makes it that much simpler. And
So they are a lot different.
yeah, quite a bit. And again, with every evolution as technology goes on, company tweaks things and makes it safer for the end user and for whoever might have the misfortune of being the business side of it.
Right.
So I appreciate you guys
what do they do?
supporting us in that and getting those taken care of. Not,
So they can test them without firing them, is what you're saying?
yeah, basically, yes.
Kind of like a hot shot,
Yeah,
just hold it up to a piece of steel and arc it.
kinda, yeah. That's basically what they do, yeah.
What happens to the old one?
I believe they get traded to Axon
They do.
and they give us a certain amount towards
Credit.
our
Right, yeah.
credit back and they'll
They
refer them or
things.
trash them or recycle them, whatever they do. Yeah.
What's the range on those?
The cartridges we have right now are 25 feet.
Stand up, Joshua.
Let's have a demonstration.
They did, Steve Langman.
How many volts?
No way was I doing it.
They're about 2,500 volts. It's very low amperage, like 0.00. Yeah.
2,500 volts, I think that much.
It is.
Remember, it's the amps that kill you.
Right, it's not the
No, but I
volt,
mean,
it's the
even
amps.
the pressure though, 2,500 volts, I mean, my hot shot's like
Okay.
15,000.
Yeah, it
Anne
could
Marie,
very well be higher, but that's about what I remember. So
good.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks.
Anne Marie,
I was lucky enough, after I had the resignation from Rose, who was going on to a new adventure. I had it posted and I did not have to go out to the paper. I had another employee within the building submit a resume. Did the interview application and she will be starting July 15th.
Who's that?
Jennifer Prysock from the district court.
Great.
So I started one with she as a court recorder already, which is a huge
Huge,
benefit to the
huge.
position itself, because it's kind of the role that she is going into, will be doing court. We have 2 court clerks. We try to split the work off.
Who's replacing her then?
Well, that left post now.
They'll have to
So,
that's their problem.
Yeah,
That's the
unfortunately, their
domino
misfortune.
effect.
It's their problem, it's all
Yeah.
their problem.
yeah,
It's-
yeah.
it-
They'll,
like I
they'll,
said,
they'll be posting right away.
Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
work on that. So that just happened. Over
Come on,
the,
friends of the court or district
District
court?
court,
Okay,
district
district
court.
court, okay.
I was gonna talk about the submission of the energy grant, but I was here till late last night and there was still no way. It just threw me for a loop when we sat down looking at it. It's probably not overly complicated if you had a long time to pull the stuff together.
Which we don't,
It just unfortunately, it had different, I don't know, I would say restrictions, different things that you had to provide.
which we have, but we don't have the background information.
Yeah,
To be able to
so-
do that easily.
I would love to say I'd like to keep looking at it, but it just doesn't.
Yeah, forget it.
Really?
Tom, you were busy with our
Well,
attorneys over
it's
labor.
irrelevant. I
too.
still want to put the effort into it, because it's money for the county, but again, it's not as cut and dry as the other ones have been.
There's nobody else that can help us with it either.
Well, the DTE grant guy said he would help. So he's open to calling, and he's the one that said it was so easy.
Well, maybe,
Yeah,
maybe,
so
So-
if it's easy
Check 'em
for
out.
them,
Well-
then we should use them. Yeah.
I leave that to the clerk's
Yeah,
discretion.
that's
'cause
right.
She's got a lot on her
Yeah.
plate, and I'm not upset if we don't get it. So
We'll work again on another avenue.
Yes,
I'm-
and I will say this. That round, if you will, was to use monies that hadn't been expended, that they thought they could get out. Well, now that we see the application, I see why they couldn't get it out.
yeah, too hard to
Yes,
fill out.
Yeah,
Yes,
like I said, it's not the
So-
25-page applications that, you can do some places, but. it
yeah, so
was-
don't worry about it, Anne Marie.
The other thing I want to bring to everybody's attention, we're posting out there, is I have upcoming election inspector trainings, if you know individuals that are interested.
I seen it on the door.
Posting, all the local clerks obviously know, there's no registration required. Those are the dates and times. I tell people, be prepared for a minimum of 2 hours. Don't come in and think in an hour you're gonna leave. I want you to hear all the information. I get people's times are valuable, as is mine. So,
Yeah.
you know, so, but this is an important topic that we have to talk, you know, things that we have to do to run smooth elections like we do in this county. So if individuals are interested, there is an application, you can get it online. I have them in my office. Most of the local clerks have them. People
That's
gotta,
for the volunteers, right?
yeah, for the election inspectors for the day of, or 9-day early voting. What people must keep in mind is one, they must declare one of the 7 noted parties on there. You cannot say you're an independent. There's no independent
Right, okay.
category for someone to select. So they have to designate the
For
party.
the primary.
No,
Period.
the worker has to designate which party affiliation they're with.
Okay.
And it's not just cut and dry Republican, Democrat, it could be also US
Green.
taxpayer, Green Party,
Communist.
Yep, well,
Mhm.
those recognized by the
There's a lot
state of
of them.
Michigan on the ballot. How's that sound?
Yeah.
The other thing is, you know, everybody's related to everybody around here. I get it. There are certain times that you cannot work within a precinct if your person in your home with your husband, wife, spouse, child, you know, if they're all living together. But the nice thing is there's other communities where maybe they're not on a county wide, they could be utilized. So, you know, working with that. And also the other thing is just because you come to the class and get a certificate does not guarantee you that you're working for an election. You still must be appointed by the local election commissions to work in a particular precinct. So if, you know, if you are interested, you know, the person's interested, I keep a list with the contact, what party they declared, so that helps my clerks go, hey, I'm short this side. I can give them names of people that they can reach out to.
Mhm.
So,
That's good.
you know, I know with the townships all on there, that's one of those, oh, so-and-so's, you know, spouse is on it, but they've worked for years. Well, now they have to go to this township because they're not on that township. So
Is there a draft primary ballot available for inspection?
the sample ballots are now available online and in my office.
Did you get mail one?
Mail ballot,
You
80
mailed-
ballots are
Yeah, you
going out.
mailed it to us. I got a question for you.
If you're on the permanent AV list, you get mailed the ballot.
I got a question for you real quick is, do probate judges have to live in Presque County?
Yes. They have to
Do
be
they,
registered.
are they all living in here?
They're all registered as living in Presque.
Really? Yeah.
Yep, that is a requirement.
What?
Thank you, Cliff.
Well,
I
probate judges
have
do.
the same
Circuit Court and
thoughts.
District have to live in one of the 2 counties because we share. So that is different.
Oh, I understand
Yeah.
circuit court. I'm talking about probate.
No, probate judges, because you are a county probate judge,
That's
you're not shared by any other county.
that's what I wanted to clarify.
Yeah, every county's required one. Yes, sir.
I'd like to get a copy of that
Yeah.
election. Yes, thank you. Anything else?
No.
That's enough.
Well, thank you. Thank you
If the
for your
meeting went
work.
any longer, you'd be invited to the wedding. I'm
yeah,
gonna
I'm
perform
just
at
gonna
1
say,
o'clock.
yeah, you gotta perform a wedding at 1.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully the
Just
rain
getting
holds up,
married.
young couple and
Oh, I think I had a 11 o'clock with the land bank. I don't know how that went, but. Correspondence.
nothing beyond.
Is there a
Letters.
card you want to?
Oh, that was, yeah.
That's for Rose.
Yep.
Motion for payroll.
Support for that. We have a motion support to the payroll. Any discussion? If not, call the roll.
You're, Chuck,
Yeah.
Bellini,
Yes.
Cinnamon,
Yes.
Sarda,
Yeah.
Saley.
Yes. Okay, motion
Motion
adjourned
carried.
till July 11th, 7 PM. Subject call the chair.
This was a long one.
Support.
We have motion support to adjourn. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. We're adjourned at
11:50.